Hey there, everybody. It is a Wednesday, and it's time now for Supernatural News on a Wednesday. I'm Timmy D. It's Darkness Radio. In with me this Wednesday is the one, the only, the BCB, the Big Cuddly Bear. It is Beer City Bruiser. How you doing, Bruiser?
I'm doing fantastic, Tim. How are you?
Perplexed.
I am too. Because as off air we were talking, and some interesting stuff's been happening, hasn't it?
It has been. Actually, there's been good stuff that's happening. On the Darkness Radio front, there's good stuff happening. But yeah, I'm perplexed about some of the other stuff.
I am too.
Yeah.
I am too.
I'll tell you, we have a very, very interesting show today. Just in news in general, the Hadron Collider is off and running. Do you feel any different?
Not yet, but
no?
I do firmly believe when it started off and running the first time, that's how we got the Mandela effect, because dimensions started melding together and interacting. So
yeah,
yeah. So I feel fine now.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Like all I did today was just go to the gym, and my gym was the same gym. There was nothing abnormal. No.
Albert Einstein didn't show up and start pumping weights at all?
He didn't, but Abraham Lincoln was there.
Oh, good. Well, tell Abe I said hi.
I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't feel any different. I didn't get a new right leg, so that's good. I'm still walking around on one leg and still have limited vision in one eye. So I didn't get any new body parts as part of this deal. I wish that would happen.
How awesome would that be? Every time they fired it up, you just get healthier.
I know.
Like, oh, hey, my hip used to hurt, but now guess what? I feel fine. Fire that son of a bitch up.
Your body would reset to like 25.
Oh, I'd love that.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh, I miss being 25.
I know. That'd be so neat.
You could drink all night, get up in the morning, go to work.
Oh, that'd be so neat. God.
Yeah.
That,
once you hit 30, folks, it goes downhill.
It really does. It's so sad. We got a big show today, Bruiser. That, like we said, the Hadron Collider has been fired up. Maybe we'll open up a couple of black holes or do whatever. Although there's an article out there that says no, there's not going to be a huge black hole opened up because of the Hadron Collider. We'll finally find out what Travis Taylor's role is with the government. The U.S. government came out and said something about that.
Oh, they answered him, huh?
Well, it's not like they answered him. I think they felt the need to kind of clean up behind him because it's the government doesn't like it when you come out and say, "Hey, I'm working for him." They were like, whoa. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on here. People are people, so why should it be that they're doing some weird stuff? So we'll talk about that. Not only they're doing some disturbing artwork, and they're also they're also have a weird way of putting their kids to bed now. We'll talk about that.
It's not a shot of bourbon whiskey and a Xanax or something. Lay them down.
That would be mild compared to the way that. Let's just put it this way: it's nightmare fuel.
Oh, great. I love Nightmare Fuel. After we had the creepy episode last week, we're going to go into Nightmare Fuel today. Okay.
Oh, we have more Nightmare Fuel for you this week. We also have a man whose relatives won't visit him. We'll tell you the creepy reason why that is. And if we have enough time at the end of the program, we'll tell you about Stephen King's favorite books. Guess what? It has nothing to do with anything scary.
I'm actually not surprised at that. Because he lives in that world, so he wants a vacation.
Well, you would figure his favorite books, it was over time. He just started getting scary. Evidently, it was normal books that made him... it was normal books that just made him get scary, I guess. I don't know. But if we have time, we'll go over that as well.
All right.
Let's start out with this Hadron Collider, shall we, Bruiser?
Let's rip some dimensions.
Rip some dimensions.
And make them meld together.
From throat to bunghole, shall we? Evidently, they're in Switzerland. They just don't give a F. You know what I'm saying? CERN scientists discover 3 exotic subatomic particles, though. We didn't create any black holes. We didn't create a Mandela effect. Nobody's grown a tail. But we did discover some subatomic particles.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Turns out scientists working with the Large Hadron Collider have discovered 3 subatomic particles never seen before as they work to unlock the building blocks of the universe. The European Nuclear Research Center, CERN, said right there yesterday, the 16.8-mile long LHC at CERN, it's really that long?
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. And I don't know if you've seen the pictures of the inside. It's like, it reminds me of the Terminator, because there's an episode, or the Terminator, or if you remember the Flash TV show.
Yeah.
When he has to run, they have that giant Star Labs accelerating. He's got to run. So it's got, if you picture a big long pipe down the middle with pipes all around it and stuff, it's just
that's what she
totally
said.
Futuristic.
There were so many "that's what she said" jokes in there. I just held back.
I'm just lobbing them to you today.
You are. It's softball city over here. So it's 16.8 miles long. It's the machine that found the Higgs boson particle, which, along with its linked energy field, is thought to be vital for the formation of the universe after the Big Bang 13.7 billion years ago. I always thought the series felt that long, but that was just me. I don't know.
It's funny because I went there too in my head. I'm like, should I tell that joke? No. And you covered it for us, so thank you.
You're welcome. Now scientists at CERN say they have observed a new kind of pentaquark. That's actually
that's quirky.
Yeah, pentaquark. And the first ever pair of tetraquarks. I guess the names are getting worse.
Yeah,
not better.
Who comes up with these names? Like, what nerd did they put in charge of coming up with these stupid names?
I am not a nerd. I am just here simply making names for the quarks. Adding 3 members to the list of the new hadrons found at the LHC. So you got your pentaquark and your tetraquark. They will help physicists better understand how quarks bind together into composite particles. Quarks are elementary particles, my dear Watson, that usually combine in groups of 2s and 3s to form hadrons, such as the protons and neutrons that make up atomic nuclei. Atomic Nuclei, great name for a band, by the way. I'm pretty good at that. More rarely, however, they also combine into 4 quark and 5 quark particles, or tetraquarks and pentaquarks.
That's a lot of quarks.
It would be a great Dungeons and Dragons name, wouldn't it?
Pentaquark?
My name is Pentaquark, the wizard. I don't know. I have no idea. I never played Dungeons and Dragons, I'm not going to lie.
I did, and it was amazing.
Was it?
Yeah. Actually, when during the pandemic, when Ring of Honor was on hiatus, on YouTube, you can actually go to the YouTube and watch me play Dungeons and Dragons. We are the worst group of people to play Dungeons and Dragons. We we filmed 4 episodes, I believe, and in all 4 episodes, so we start the show by beating up an old man, killing his son, stealing all their money.
Wow.
Yeah, it's spicy. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of messages. Oh, I didn't know you did that, and that was really entertaining. I'm like, yeah, we're horrible people.
Nice.
Yeah.
I will learn more and more about you every week.
I was a dwarf.
Were you?
I was a mountain dwarf, and guess what my mountain dwarf did for a living?
What was that?
He brewed beer.
Get out of here, really?
I'm serious. That's how I'd give health to my team. I was the healer. So I'd mix a batch of brew, and when they were down and out, I'd toss some beers, and they'd do it, and it was great. I really recommend it. You should check it out. It's a fun time.
Stone Cold Dwarf Austin. Huh. Interesting. Did you stun them after you gave them the beer?
No, because
see,
they were my teammates. I don't want to turn on them.
I see. Well, that's nice. I mean, it sounds like a good time.
I didn't mean to go off on a sidetrack, but
it's very interesting. I'll go watch because now I need to. It's like I can't look away.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, we're horrible characters. We're just because I was the only experienced player of the group. So there's 6 of us that play, and then they have a special guest someone from the roster. So
who all played, or is it just friends?
No, it was me, Cheeseburger, Brian Malonis,
all right,
Session Moth Martina, and Joe Hendry.
Okay.
And we were the group, and then we had special guests like Quinn McKay came on, Brody King came on. I'm trying to think who else our guest was. I don't remember, but our cameraman Gator was the guy who was the dungeon master. And so we all just put it together, and he'd give us the quest line. This is what we have to do. And we had to come up with character sheets and come up with names, and we had the dice and we're rolling. And you'd think it'd be boring to watch 6 people play Dungeons and Dragons, but we're in character. So we're our wrestling characters playing our Dungeons and Dragons character.
No way.
The whole time.
Oh my God.
And there's a special, I believe it was a Halloween episode. We're all dressed up in costume while we do it, and it's a great time. Like it turned out being a hit during the pandemic because nobody could do anything, so they wanted to see us. And so it was originally supposed to be just 1 episode, but we ended up filming 4. So
all right, I'm going to watch it.
Like I said, the first episode, we kill a guy's son, then we kill the man because he approached us of why we killed his son, and then we robbed his family. I mean, we're just horrible people.
Which YouTube page is this on? Is this on yours?
No, I can put it on mine, but I believe it's on Ring of Honor's page.
All right.
If it's still there, it should be.
Okay.
I hope they didn't take it off. That was so much fun to do.
I'll try to find the link for it, and I'll put it on the description of this page.
Well, and the best is Martina, Brian, and I are drinking as we play. So as the game goes on, it's just a good time.
All right. I'll put the link up so people can see it. So as far as the Hadron Collider goes, they say the more analysis we perform, the more kinds of exotic hadrons we find. That physicist Niels Tuning said in a statement, we're witnessing a period of discovery similar to the 1950s when a particle zoo of hadrons started being discovered and ultimately led to the quark model of conventional hadrons in the 1960s. We're creating particle zoo 2.0. That's what they said. Particle zoo 2.0.
And you know that whoever thought of that line was like, that's the go home line. That's it right there.
Particle zoo 2.0.
What is their purpose of this? Like, what are they? So we find these quarks. Like, what are they going to do with them? They can't do anything with them.
I guess if they find the building blocks in the universe, they know how to build a whole new universe. I don't know.
So, hey, look, I can build a universe.
Well, then they can do like a DIY show and put it on Discovery Plus. I have no idea what they do with it.
So instead of flip your house, it's flip your universe. Yeah, this old universe with Bob Vila.
Exactly. They have the quirky music. Welcome to build your own universe. Here, take a few tetraquarks and a few pentaquarks, and you throw it in with a whatever quark, and got yourself a universe.
It's quark here, quark there, quark, quark, quark.
Quark, quark, quark. You get the Swedish chef on for week 5. Birdie, shady, hurdy, hurdy, universe.
And he was Swedish, too.
Yeah. See? Well, he's probably cooking up the stuff from the Hadron Collider.
He's probably the one that came out with that go home line you just read.
Yeah. 2.2. Exactly.
Yeah.
Dr. Travis Taylor came out last week, Bruiser, and said, "Hey, I'm working for the government. Woohoo!"
Yeah.
Well,
and that's a direct quote, fans.
I'm working for the government.
Direct quote.
Yeah, you guys said, "I'm working for the government. Woo!" And it's kind of what it sounded like too. And the government said, "Slow your roll there, Travis." Well, no, the Pentagon came out, released details about Dr. Travis Taylor and exactly what is going on with his UAP task force involvement. George Knapp with KLAS TV exclusively published the identity of one of the scientists working with, well, we know it's Travis Taylor. I don't have to read that part of it. Dr. Travis Taylor was said to be the chief scientist of that task force. Dr. Taylor played a role in analyzing the 144 incidents, according to LasVegasNow.com, including dozens of bizarre objects that buzzed multiple Navy ships in 2019. Immediately after the article was published, the blackvault.com and our buddy John over there reached out to the Pentagon, of course, because he's good at that.
He is.
He's very, very good at that. The next morning to confirm some of the claims, but also attempt to extract additional details about his work. The Black Vault decided to publish the entire statements from the Pentagon, and we're going to kind of paraphrase from it as Susan, I believe it's Gao, spokesperson from the Department of Defense, said to ensure no context has changed and nothing is properly omitted here. I'm going to read from the statements here to tell you exactly what was said. So question 1 was, based on the story, can it be confirmed that Dr. Travis Taylor was the chief scientist for the UAP task force? If so, just wanting for clarity reasons to confirm that it was an official and paid position on the UAP task force. And can it be confirmed that Jay Stratton was the one who hired him for the job? So answer 1 to this was the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force was and is, until the follow-on Department of Defense organization is fully operational, a partnership across federal and Department of Defense agencies with a variety of organizations providing personnel as required. Dr. Taylor was a government employee assigned to the U.S. Army Space and Missile Defense Command, SMDC. SMDC provided Dr. Taylor on a limited time, or I'm sorry, I want to quote this correctly, on a time-limited basis as part of a large number of contributing organizations across the DoD, the intelligence community, and other parts of the federal government to assist with the stand-up of the UAPTF and its reporting requirements. It was not a full-time assignment. He remained an employee of SMDC early 2021. Following consultations with the UAPTF, SMDC worked to clarify and deconflict assigned tasks, responsibilities, and outside activities to balance mission priorities. At the time of Dr. Taylor's initial work with the UAPTF, former Office of Naval Intelligence senior civilian John Stratton was leading the effort and informally referred to Dr. Taylor as his chief scientist as efforts to assemble a larger team were underway. And I think
that's a really long way of saying, yeah, he was.
He was, but you have to understand, too, the way that this statement rules this out, there's semantics here.
Yeah, right, as always when you come to government task force.
So things were being built, and in the process of it being built, it sounds like it might have started to dissolve a little.
Yeah.
So he was referred as chief scientist only in the fact that it never got to a permanent committee. But had it got to a permanent committee, Dr. Taylor would have been the chief scientist.
Okay, so essentially he was chief scientist in title alone because there was nothing came about.
It was never an official title.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it was never an official
title. He didn't have business cards printed up.
No, they didn't go to Vista Print. No. Question 2, are there any details of his role that can be provided? In what capacity did he work? Where were his duties as chief scientist, etc.? It says Dr. Taylor worked with the UAPTF as a contributing scientist and engineer, bringing those skills to review the reports of UAP sightings by military personnel and the associated study of any related materials or data in an effort to identify the objects observed and possible approaches to obtaining improved technical data. So essentially, it looks like he went over reports.
Yeah, he was well, that's what chiefs do. If you think about it, they don't really get their hands dirty. It's people report to them.
He could have done field work.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But it sounds like other people were doing field work, sending him the paperwork. He had to go over it to, I don't want to say dumb it down for the government, but dumb it down for the government.
Yeah. In the story that the Black Vault linked, it directly contradicts Scott Bray's testimony that the triangular pyramid-shaped objects in the videos presented were drones. According to the story, Dr. Taylor went into much greater detail about why the drone scenario falls far short of explaining the 2019 UFO encounters. It also states that UAP task force members were stunned to hear a Navy official tell a congressional hearing last month that all of these were drones, as if the mystery has been solved. Someone had to disregard the work of the task force to make that claim. Can you comment on the validity of these claims and why this would contradict Scott Bray's congressional testimony under oath? If it is still the position, can it be said if the drone conclusion came after the UAPTF was disbanded, and if so, where did that conclusion come from? That was given to the Congress. And the answer here is Dr. Taylor's work with the UAPTF focused on scientific and technical advice provided as a research scientist, not as an intelligence analysis. The UAPTF stands by the conclusions presented by Dr. Bray in his briefing.
So they're agreeing that they think it's drones.
Yes.
That it's not UFOs.
Yes. Yeah. Question 4 is that Dr. Taylor is a well-known television personality. Television. I said it weird. Wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. On shows like Ancient Aliens, Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch, and many others, where there are concerns by the Navy that his frequenting of shows like the aforementioned would be possible as a conflict of interest of any kind, potentially creating ethics issues, create concerns about his security clearance, talking about UFO-related issues on TV, or affect his work with the UAPTF, which is an excellent question.
Yeah, it is. Because Skinwalker Ranch is, they're essentially looking for, otherworldly life and UFOs and UAPs and all that. So you'd think that'd be a conflict of interest with his government work.
It says here, as stated, Dr. Taylor was an employee of the U.S. Army Space and Missile Defense Command, or SMDC. His parent organization, SMDC, provided him to assist the UAPTF based on his education and experience as a scientist and engineer. In early 2021, following consultations with the UAPTF, SMDC took steps to clarify and deconflict assigned tasks, responsibilities, and outside activities to balance mission priorities. Immediately following the receipt of the above statements, Black Vault attempted to follow up to this statement. In early 2021, following consultations with, again, the UAPTF and SMDC, took steps to clarify and deconflict assigned tasks, responsibilities, and outside activities to balance mission priorities. Go was asked to clarify what she meant. I'm a bit unclear on what you mean here. Clarify and deconflict in what regard and what changed thereafter, was the follow-up that was emailed. The answer was the following. Broadly speaking, it means clarifying and deconflicting his assigned tasks and responsibilities between SMDC and support to the UAPTF and his outside activities. I can't provide further details as we do not comment on individual personnel matters. The Black Vault has reached out to Dr. Travis Taylor. Should any additional information relating to the above become available, it will be posted. So interesting that they're kind of hooked up on that too over at the Black Vault. That, wait a minute, you're still active with Skinwalker Ranch and the filming of such TV show. How does that interfere with your government work in finding out findings for the government? Because obviously you're presenting one thing on television, but then you're telling the government another thing. Or are you being consistent across all formats?
Yeah, and Skinwalker Ranch, for people that don't know, is a privately funded research project. The guy who owns Skinwalker Ranch is the one that's funding it. It has nothing to do with the government.
Well, now under Bigelow, they did have some stuff to do with the government. This particular iteration, you're right, has nothing to do with the government.
Right, because he wasn't a part of Bigelow, correct? He was brought in after Bigelow sold the ranch to the current owner.
But now that begs to differ. Are the things they're finding on Skinwalker, is Dr. Taylor turning them over to the government? Is he telling them of the things that are happening?
Yeah, because you'd think the private group would have an NDA. You can't release this until the episode's released or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To protect, because obviously they want people to tune in a TV show. But he has to report his findings to the government because he's part of this task force. So what is it?
I don't know if he has to. Again, because the way that is stated in the letter to the Black Vault, they've hired him based on his experience. If he has further experiences, he doesn't necessarily have to file a report to the government. All reports that have been filed, or that are on file to the government are voluntary.
When was the task force created? Do we know that?
I believe 2019.
And that's when the show aired, because they're in their second season now. So no, the show's after
season.
The task
third
force.
Season.
They're on the third season.
Yeah. Well, they might have been the same time.
Okay. So yeah. So do you think he would almost have to disclose that when approached by the government?
Oh,
for
I'm
this
sure.
Job.
I'm sure they knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see what's going to come about this.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of conflicting, just ideas and stuff like that. Because
I'm sure, and I'll wrap it with this. I'm sure there's, in the government's eyes, there's no conflict, because there's no conflict whatsoever. It's only an asset to them. Should he find something on the job at Skinwalker, sure, he's got an NDA, but that NDA only lasts the length of the contract. And there are ways around NDAs.
Right, yeah, I know that.
So, what's said in confidence in one place can be kept in confidence in another.
I'm curious. I know you're wrapping that up, but I'm curious. Do you think the government approached that private group and said, "Hey, we're going to toss a little bit of money your way too, share so you can share your findings with our task force"? I mean, that's a possibility too.
Depends. You have to go talk to the production company of the television producer. Yeah, I don't know. You have to talk to. Here's the thing. Here's where it gets tricky. Okay, so should they find something significant? Sure, the government could come put their footprints all over that production, and you wouldn't be allowed to air whatever it is you found that was top secret. The government at any time, should you find something that's a little over the line, could probably step in on that production and shut it down.
Okay.
That's probably going to trump everything.
Yeah.
But then there's an interest that the government would have for you to keep going with that project. Keep in mind, the government doesn't have to pay for that. That's being privately funded and privately aired. I mean,
True.
History Channel is paying for that.
Right.
History Channel's floating the buck for that. So it's money that they don't have to spend to find that evidence. So they'll let that continue as long as they want.
Right. Until it proves either problematic or, like you said, something top secret comes up.
Yeah. If there were anything that basically threatened national security,
yeah,
then they would shut it down. But there's nothing there that they, I think, find problematic.
Right.
So they'll continue to let it go.
It'll be, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Independence Day, a reality is the question. We just had the July 4th weekend. Is it possible that aliens could come blow up the White House, Bruiser? Well, 1 in 3 people believe they've seen a real UFO, and you never know. There may be that scenario. Independence Day has forever tied aliens to the 4th of July. Now a new survey has found that many people believe they've seen an actual UFO flying over their city. In fact, 37% claim they've witnessed something out of the ordinary taking place in the sky. 35% convinced themselves that it was just an optical illusion, and nearly half the poll, 45%, say they believed in aliens and UFOs for as far back as they can remember. 1 in 4 people call themselves true believers in extraterrestrial life. The survey of 2,000 adults in the United Kingdom, commissioned by Beavertown Brewery. We have a new destination.
Yes, we do.
Yep. To celebrate World UFO Day, which, by the way, we forgot to celebrate it with you. It was July 2nd. Also found that a third wanted to believe in aliens out there, despite not having any facts to back it up. In the absence of a real spacecraft flying over their heads and saying hello, 36% say they got their information about aliens and UFO from documentaries. Another 24% say their info came from the internet, and 22% rely on family and friends. Just like the saying on the X-Files, 43% believe the truth is out there. With that in mind, 1 in 3 say they actively go looking for UFOs, and the same number have come up with their own stories for an unexplainable event that they witnessed. Get this, Bruiser. 1 in 4 respondents, 26%, think their hometown is an alien hotspot.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a lot of alien hotspots.
Yes, there is. Yeah. When it comes to unusual sightings in the sky, in the UK, London tops that list for UFO hotspots. Although a strange sighting may make for some interesting coffee talk, not everyone wants to share their experiences with the paranormal. Only 3 in 10 say they would openly talk about UFOs, while 4 in 10 prefer to keep their stories about aliens to themselves. I don't blame them, because I think that a UFO story is a little harder to swallow, or an experience with an alien is a little harder to swallow than a ghost experience.
Yeah, because we've been programmed for so long that abductions and stuff don't happen, or if they are, it's that person's cuckoo. It's only in the last few years where we started taking it seriously, and I blame the National Enquirer for that. Yeah, because they'd always post those headlines. Oh, I had an alien baby. Oh, I had Bigfoot's love child. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, It became a joke. Yeah, and people are scared because they don't want to be made fun of. Nobody wants to be made fun of.
Yes, you're right. Very much so.
But within the last 5, maybe 7 years, it's become more of the norm because of the shows like Ancient Aliens and Skinwalker Ranch and all that, where it's more, you're not looked down upon. Where back in the 80s, you were just tossed aside and you're a kook.
Very, very much so. Interesting facts and figures here. The survey was conducted by one poll, by the way. They found that 48% don't fully trust anything they can't find an obvious answer for. That's why 61% add that there are certain events in history that still baffle them, like the first moon landing. What is so baffling about the moon landing?
That's that conspiracy theory where they think it was a bunch of actors and it was on a soundstage in Hollywood.
Yeah. Similarly, the Bermuda Triangle, which we both sailed through.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we did. That's right.
Yes. 23%. And the Illuminati, 17%, top the list of myths and theories people would like to believe are true. By the way, okay, so I was telling you off air about this TikTok set of videos. If you look up Agent Buttercup, one of the things that he was asked, is there anything to the Bermuda Triangle? And he answered water and a whole lot of sunken ships. That's what he said. So what I want to clarify, what Bruiser and I were talking about off air, I ran across this. You know how sometimes you fall down the rabbit hole when you're going along either on Facebook or on Instagram or TikTok. I was on Instagram and I ran across this young lady's series of videos called "Things You Want to Ask a Former Spy."
Which is an amazing title because we all want to ask spy stuff.
Yes, we all want to ask spies anything, right?
Yeah.
So that tickles both the conspiracy theory guy in me and the true crime guy in me and everything else. So I click on this and my God, there's 39 little videos of this, and it's so captivating because it's like 2 really serious questions, and then who's your favorite Pokemon, which is Snorlax. Or it's 2 questions and what's your least favorite vegetable, and it's Brussels sprouts. It's 2 really deep questions, like, who do you think will survive World War III? And it's the people who are 6 feet under. It's just like, oh, that's so creepy. But
but he still gives you that palate cleanser at the end with the,
exactly,
like you said, the Snorlax or the Brussels sprouts.
Or what's your favorite type of juice? And it's grapefruit juice, So there's that palate cleanser. You're right, Bruiser, at the end there. But they're like little 1-minute vignettes, and they're really interesting. And he goes behind what's behind Area 51. And all that stuff. So if you look up Agent Buttercup,
On TikTok or on Instagram?
On both.
On both, okay.
Yeah, Agent Buttercup on both. Actually, do it on TikTok, Agent Buttercup, and you'll find it. The guy even had merchandise.
Of course, you got to have merchandise.
He had Agent Buttercup sweatshirts, which I just thought was the funniest thing. But yeah, he addresses the flat Earth deal. He addresses conspiracy theories. I'm not going to tell you what he addresses on them because I want you to watch it for yourself. But it's pretty good stuff. And Bruiser is saying we should get the guy on the show. We should. I think we will because and it'll probably be on True Crime Tuesday because the guy is fascinating.
Yeah. Just think of the stuff he knows that he can't talk about.
Right.
You said there's some stuff he still can't talk about. Mm-hmm. But the stuff that he's seen, the stuff that he's done,
and to clarify,
I don't know anybody out there that when they were a kid didn't want to be James Bond. Right. You know what I mean? Or Mission Impossible.
And to clarify, he tells you how he was recruited into being a spy, and that was through military service. He took a test, and it was his aptitude that got him recruited, and he was recruited.
Yeah. I think a lot of spies are recruited because you need to be a certain mental level.
Yep.
To do that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're living a completely different life when you're a spy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You can't come home and tell your wife and kids, hey honey, how was your day? Oh well, I killed a foreign official today.
You know what? His wife knew shortly after they were married.
Well, yeah, I'm sure she knew he was a spy, but he couldn't talk about the missions with her.
He said he just told her there are certain things I won't be able to tell you about, and she accepted that, and she had to in order to be married to him.
So it wasn't a True Lies situation where Arnold couldn't tell Jamie Lee that he was a spy. Okay.
But what's funny is his kid, his daughter, who's now 20, didn't find out until she was 16, and it just came out at a parent-teacher conference.
What a weird place for that to come out.
And it was after he was retired. So this Agent Buttercup is retired, and he takes his daughter to parent-teacher conferences. And he always told people who had asked what he did for a living. Well, he was in the service. Okay. So he was in the service, and he was what he did in the service was either a weatherman or a trash guy. Okay. So somebody had said, well, weatherman in the service. Well, that kind of sounds like a cover for a spy. And that's exactly what the teacher said at parent-teacher conferences.
And he goes, yeah, you're absolutely right.
And he goes, yeah, I guess I could have done some spying too. That's what he tells the teacher.
Like that?
And the daughter looks at the father and goes, wait a minute. You just rocked my entire world. You mean to tell me that you're a spy? And he goes, well, I do speak Russian. Why do you think that I speak Russian? Because I've been spying.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That is so cool. I'm definitely looking this guy up.
Yeah. Agent Buttercup. Look it up on TikTok. Either Agent Buttercup spy videos or questions that you've always wanted to ask a spy. It's just fascinating stuff. Anyways, getting back to our figures here. So similarly, Bermuda Triangle, 23%, Illuminati, 17%, top of the list of myths and theories people would like to believe are true. 26% think Nevada's Area 51 is where the Air Force secretly investigates and experiments with alien technology, which Agent Buttercup says it's just where they test weapons.
Yeah.
And that's where the SR-71 Blackbird, the plane, was actually developed.
Well, the one guy, I want to say his name is Lazar, but I don't remember what that is.
Yeah, Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar.
Yep.
He's come out and said, too, he was hired to work at Area 51, but they moved him to a different location.
Yeah.
To do the alien reverse engineering.
Yeah.
He says Area 51 is just a base.
It's just a testing base, yeah.
Yeah.
There are lots of strange happenings in the sky, and people should feel encouraged to share their stories, especially on days like World UFO Day. A Beavertown Brewery spokesperson said in a statement as he giggled about the name of the brewery. I would every time I worked. I'd go to work. I'd laugh about the name of my.
I would too, but I'm curious. I want to drink a Beavertown beer now. It's in the UK, huh?
I bet you do. I hope people tuned into. The show yesterday.
I hope so too.
Yeah, because that was a pretty funny little joke we played yesterday from one of our listeners about the loony and the toonie.
It was a hilarious joke.
Yeah,
and it was funny too because we the article was talked about on this show.
Yes, about the alien coin. Yeah.
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 Are you gonna play the joke, or are we just gonna?
I said I would, wouldn't I? I think. Let me see.
Our listeners that tune in on the Parashare or the Supernatural News, they deserve to hear it.
They should. They should probably hear the joke, shouldn't they? Let's see if I can get this up and moving here. That's what she said.
And thank you for whoever sent that joke in. That I repeated that joke, Tim, at least 7 times in the last 2 days. I told a person at the when I went to go work out today, it turns out the gentleman, you scan I go to Planet Fitness, so you scan your thing. Mm-hmm. He's Canadian. And I said, oh, well, I got a joke about your money. He says, oh, the loony and the toony. And I said, yeah. And I told him the joke. He actually got a big chuckle.
Well, I'll tell you, this comes from Angela. Okay, so here it is. Here's the joke. Okay, so you got the coin, and on the front is the picture of the queen, and on the back is a picture of something else. All right? And you'll get it when you get the joke. Here goes.
Tim, I have a joke for you. How do you make the queen orgasm? You flip her over and you rubber beaver.
See, there you go. There's a beaver on the other side of the coin.
But
yeah, it was more of a visual joke because she sent me a video, but there you go. So.
Oh, her rubbing the coin?
No. She wasn't rubbing the coin. She just flipped the coin over to show me that there is a. There you go. But that's Canadian money for you.
Oh, I love it. That's my new favorite joke.
There you go. Well, it's a funny joke.
It is.
Yeah, it's a funny joke. I laugh pretty good. By the way, there's a scientist out there that believes that there were 2 space wars in the solar system.
Like Star Wars? Like lasers?
I guess,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear this story. Yeah. This will be interesting.
Al Worden was an American astronaut and engineer who was the command module pilot for the Apollo 15 lunar mission in 1971. He was one of 24 people to have flown to the moon. The former Apollo 15 member said that not only were aliens real, but they had come to Earth in the distant past and created our civilization. And if we wanted to look for evidence, all we had to do was look at ancient Sumerian literature. In 2017, on a British TV show, Good Morning Britain, he gave a shocking response when a host asked why to spend a lot of money on space missions when there are a lot of problems on Earth. He was asked if he believed aliens were real. The answer probably surprised everyone watching the interview. We are the aliens, but we just think they are somebody else. But we are the ones who came from somewhere else because somebody else had to survive. And they got into little spacecraft. Then they came here and landed, and they started civilization here. And if you don't believe me, go get books on ancient Sumerians and see what they had to do, or what they had to say, rather. They'll tell you right up front, Worden added. More interestingly, according to Dr. Joseph P. Farrell, an intergalactic space battle took place in the solar system millions of years ago involving super-evolved aliens.
So it took place in a galaxy, well, our galaxy, so not a galaxy far, far away.
But it took place a long time ago.
Yes.
Yeah. See, maybe there's truth to what George Lucas says. The book is Cosmic War, Cosmic War, Interplanetary Warfare, Modern Physics and Ancient Texts. And the author is Dr. Joseph P. Farrell. He says there's an ample evidence of cataclysmic and catastrophic destruction in the solar system. He suggests that there were 2 space wars, one 65 million years ago, and the other was 3.2 million years ago. Joseph Farrell is an Oxford-educated historian specializing in alternative... Oh, I'm having a hard time today, Bruiser. Specializing in alternative history, World War II, and secret technology. After a lifelong interest in alternative history, science, and ancient text, Joseph began to write on these topics, rejecting the naturalistic and materialistic assumptions about catastrophism put forward by other researchers. Dr. Farrell says it's time to take ancient myths of space warfare in the heavens seriously. Using extraterrestrial artifacts, advanced ideas of modern physics, and texts of ancient myths in his arguments, he argues that an ancient interplanetary war was fought in our own solar system using weapons of extraordinary power and complexity. Many scholars and authors of ancient history have mentioned the so-called technology of the gods, which includes not only the mystic flying machine, Vimana, but also the powerful weapons of the gods, such as the Vajra, lightning. In the book, Dr. Farrell mentions the ancient Sumerian god, I believe it's Ninurt. Oh gosh, I can't pronounce that. Ninurta? Ninurta, wielding lightning, which is a replica of electrical discharge produced in a modern laboratory that experiments with plasma physics. Dr. Farrell argued that the echoes of the space war are reflected in the ancient texts of the Sumerians, Babylonians, Egyptians, biblical texts, the Vedic tradition, and as well as the mythology of the New World from the Mayan and Aztecs to the myths of some indigenous North American tribes. But think about it, the oldest texts from the ancient Near East are perhaps 4,000 to 5,000 years old. Vedic texts can be about 5,000 to 6,000 years old. In addition, purely oral traditions can push information back several thousand years. It's a long time, but it's nothing compared to 3.2 million years. It's incredibly ridiculous to consider the connection between an ancient manuscript of 6,000 years ago and events that took place 65 million years ago. It sounds unacceptable that all civilizations, high and low, such as the Egyptians, the Mongols, various Chinese dynasties, the Roman Empire, the Incans, and Aztecs have come and gone in just the last few thousand years. It's true that traces of tradition and mythology have survived for thousands of years. British psychologist and author Stan Gooch, who is probably best known as a proponent for the hybrid origin theory of human evolution, makes a more convincing case that much of our fundamental culture today is based on and actually descended from the extinct race of Neanderthals, the last of which became extinct about 20,000 to 30,000 years ago. Gooch said that modern man does not know and/or has forgotten the origin of his primary fundamental cultural attributes, such as the development of the zodiac and various theological concepts and much more. But that doesn't help Dr. Farrell, as for him, even 20,000 to 30,000 years is nothing. Neanderthals had about 250,000 successful species, but for Dr. Farrell, that's nothing. According to leading scientists, the origin of Homo sapiens is about 200,000 years old. However, Dr. Farrell states that the legends have been passed down by one civilization or another for 3.2 million years. Although there are proponents of alternative archaeology, such as Michael Cremo and Richard Thompson, who say that the human species is actually billions of years old. Unfortunately, such statements are certainly on edge, to say the least. But Dr. Farrell's space war scenario takes a huge advantage in the work of physicist Dr. John Brandenburg, who's a rather brilliant and accomplished plasma physicist who earned his PhD from UC Davis back in 1981. Dr. John Brandenburg has published two controversial books, Death on Mars and Life and Death on Mars, in which he provides a highly scientific and highly technical justification for the fact that Mars was destroyed by nuclear weapons millions of years ago as part of some interstellar cosmic conflict. Brandenburg said that Mars was destroyed when some advanced extraterrestrial race dropped 2 million megaton bombs that exploded at strategic locations about 20 miles above the surface of Mars. If he's right, that would benefit Dr. Farrell's theory of ancient space warfare, but there's a serious problem with that. According to Dr. Brandenburg, Mars was hit by a nuclear attack 251 million years ago. This is not consistent with Dr. Farrell's time frame of 3.2 million and 65 million years ago. However, Dr. Farrell can find something in his book. According to the late Dr. Tom Van Flandern, an American astronomer specializing in celestial mechanics for the U.S. Naval Observatory, the planet between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter exploded about 65 million years ago, or another 3.2 million years ago. He finds some way to formulate his space war scenario in terms of a time scenario of, say, 10,000 to 15,000 years ago. He says, I believe Van Flanderns, that's a hard name to say, Van Flanderns.
Yeah, it is.
exploding planet hypothesis makes sense only if one's willing to accept an unnatural explanation. Of course, this is heretical on several levels, since the explanation must somehow include the presence of potential artifacts on Mars, as well as a supposed high-tech culture on Mars's former parent. Oddly enough, the climax of Yando Binder's cosmic pyramid mystery must come to mind. In Binder's novel, the asteroid belt was formed by a targeted gravitational attack that used the energy of the entire solar system. The pyramids were, in fact, gravitational generators used to manipulate space-time, wrote Dr. Farrell. This is the least that can be said about Dr. Farrell's space war, but in doing so, he offers the solution to a mystery that has long puzzled researchers, revealing that the cause of this ancient war, the means by which it was waged, and the true nature of the secret technology behind the ancient tables of destiny, which sounds like the next Indiana Jones film. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it does. Sounds like he's going to go look for him.
By the way, have you seen what Harrison Ford looks like these days?
I haven't seen a picture of him in a few years. Last I saw of him was in the Star Wars movies, the most recent one.
I saw a picture of him in the Indy uniform, because there's...
they're filming a new one, I know that.
Yeah, Antonio Banderas is in this new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I saw the pictures last night.
Does he look good? He's getting old.
He's turning 80 in like 5 days or so.
I was gonna say, yeah, he's up there. Like he looked old as Han Solo.
Yeah,
I mean, he still looked good, and Han Solo's the man. But
it's gonna be interesting. I'll put it that way. I can't imagine where they're gonna go with this, but it's his last hurrah as Indy. So
the last Indy, the Crystal Skull ones, was not good. It was not a good movie. Like Shia LaBeouf did his best, but you could tell Harrison Ford was just phoning it in.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's going to be that good. I think one more story here before we go to break. I know it's been a long haul here, but we're going to do one more story here before we go to break. Let's see here. I think this is the last story. We're making it hard to hear aliens, according to this article. Of course we are. If you were looking to hear aliens out there in space, especially with the big space telescopes, evidently our mobile services are screwing it up for everybody. Increasing demands for mobile services and wireless internet have crowded the radio spectrum, creating interference that can skew data and add noise to scientific results. Dan Wertheimer has spent more than 4 decades trying to eavesdrop on aliens, a pioneering researcher in the field of astronomy known as SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Wertheimer's work involves scanning the cosmos with huge ground-based radio telescopes to look for strange or unexplained signals that may have originated from alien civilizations. However, if it sounds like it's a little bit like a needle in a haystack, that's kind of because it is. In recent years, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence has become even more complicated. Increasing demands for mobile services and wireless internet have crowded the radio spectrum, creating interference that can skew data and add noise to scientific results. Earth is just getting more and more polluted, said Wertheimer, chief technologist at the Berkeley SETI Research Center. With some radio bands, it's already impossible to do SETI because they're so full of television transmitters, Wi-Fi, and cell phone bands. As wireless technologies continue to grow, the problem will only get worse, Wertheimer said, potentially jeopardizing in one of the key ways that scientists have to research for intelligent life in the universe. Wertheimer was recently one of the authors of a preprint study led by Chinese researchers that identified a radio signal that several news outlets mistakenly reported as having characteristics of an alien civilization. The signal was actually found to have been radio interference, Wertheimer clarified. Focused SETI research began in earnest in the 1980s and was cemented in popular culture in the 1985 novel Contact by Carl Sagan, which was later adapted into a film in 1997 starring Jodie Foster.
Great book, great movie.
Yep, that's true. At its heart, SETI research aims to answer the question, are we alone in the universe? And in the decades since, scientists first started listening for alien signals. Improvements in telescope technology and data processing have bolstered the search, according to Wertheimer. We used to listen to one channel, and now we're listening to 10 billion channels, he said. The technology and science keeps improving. Those leaps in technology, however, have come with their share of challenges. More satellites are being launched into low Earth orbit than ever before as a result of failing launch costs and cheaper materials to help build spacecraft. Society's growing reliance on wireless internet and GPS navigation also means more competition for radio frequencies. It's valuable spectrum, and people want more and more of it for everyday activities, said Paul Horowitz, emeritus professor of physics and electrical engineering at Harvard University and a prominent SETI researcher. All that means is that the radio spectrum is a mess these days. For SETI scientists, having relatively clear and unobstructed channels to scan the cosmos is invaluable. Errant human interference not only creates more work for researchers to filter out, but can present itself as a falsely intriguing signal. It's a conundrum that astronomers are all too familiar with, said Andrew Senian, director of the Berkeley SETI Research Center and the Bernard M. Oliver Chair for SETI Research at the SETI Institute in Mountain View, California. To avoid red herrings, scientists often rely on repeatability, which can often involve studying the same target for extended periods to compare observations. Other times, researchers use what is known about human-caused interference to winnow down the results. At the same time that all these satellites are being launched, our knowledge about what's in space is also increasing, said Simeon, who is also a principal investigator for Breakthrough Listen, which is a 10-year, $100 million initiative to search for intelligent extraterrestrial life that was launched in 2015 by Stephen Hawking. He added that increased situational awareness in space makes it easier to identify satellites and other form of human interference. It helps us know that we're not fooling ourselves by looking at a signal from a satellite and thinking that it's a form of distant celestial source. So there you go. We're kind of screwing ourselves up there, Bruiser, as far as...
So Werner's out on his balcony yelling, "Get off your phone! Please get off your phone!
Stop it already! There should be a curfew! Don't you kids ever go to bed?" Yeah, that's...
Stop surfing the web! Trying to listen to my program.
I just want you all to start listening to NPR again. They need the business. They need the business.
He wants basic cable to come back so he can listen to his 10 billion channels of cosmic noise.
You kids and your cord cutting. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Stay tuned. We'll be back with more in the best in paranormal podcasting. It's a Supernatural News Wednesday with the Cruiser and the Bruiser right here on Darkness Radio. Welcome back. It's the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm Tim Dennis. That's Beer City Bruiser. It's gonna get weird, my friend.
Oh, we're entering the weird part now, huh?
You know, South Park has Man Bear Pig.
Yes, they do.
I just throw that. That's how
I like how you just threw that in there.
Yeah, I know. I just, my references are very strange. South Park has Man Bear Pig. France now has Bear Dog.
The French just decided to jump on the Bear Dog, huh?
Yep, they just decided to jump on the Bear Dog. Well, that didn't sound right either.
No, that didn't.
That made it sound like the French are a little horny for the Bear Dog. An ancient bear dog was found in France and named after a child-murdering cyclops. Because they didn't have anything better to name it after.
French are weird.
I know they are a little weird. A jawbone, and I'm French, so there you go. A jawbone fossil confirmed how widespread these carnivores were millions of years ago. With jaws equipped to tear the flesh from the bones of their prey, extinct carnivores known as bear dogs were powerful predators that prowled Asia, South Africa, Europe, and North America more than 7.5 million years ago. Now researchers have unearthed the jawbone of one of those extinct carnivores in the Pyrenees mountain range in Europe, shedding light on just how deadly bear dogs were. It's going to end up being the mascot for a sports team. What sport takes on bear dogs first?
A football team.
Football team?
Like, yeah, instead of the Washington Commanders, why aren't they the Washington Bear Dogs?
Oh, that's good. You know what? I think hockey.
Yeah, I can see it in hockey. Hockey's a little more animal friendly.
Yeah.
Especially weird animals.
Mm-hmm. The Poughkeepsie Bear Dogs.
I like that.
Yeah.
Does Poughkeepsie have a team?
It'll be like a minor league club.
Okay.
Poughkeepsie Bear Dogs.
I love it. You know what else it could be? It could also be a minor league baseball team.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Because they have all that stuff.
They do. Yeah. Yeah. Poughkeepsie Bear Dogs. Yeah.
Yep. I see that minor league baseball teams or a minor league hockey team or both.
True. Or you know what? It may be a team in America with the name Paris, and because it's a French animal, Paris Bear Dogs.
Right out of Texas. There's a Paris, Texas.
Paris, Tennessee, too, right?
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
The Paris Bear Dogs.
We drove through Paris, Tennessee to get to my new house.
There you go. See, the Paris Bear Dogs. Just go to the local Paris town ball team.
Just pitch it.
Change your name to Bear Dogs. And they go, oh, that's cute. We could have a cute little bear dog as our mascot. Yeah, but you can't do promotions around kids because it's a child murdering cyclops.
What's the name?
What's the name of what? The child murdering cyclops?
Yeah.
Well, it's a
Because like if you're gonna have Bear Dog be your mascot, you gotta have a fun name. So it could be like Bubbly the Bear Dog or something.
Tartaro Cyan.
Yeah, that's not a mascot.
Tartaro is what it's short for. Tartaro is the menacing one-eyed giant that it was named after.
Yeah, you can't have that.
You can't have the menacing one-eyed giant out there cheering for the Bear Dogs.
It's 2022. When people see menacing one-eyed giant, they don't think of a cyclops. They think of a male part.
Yeah, they think of what's in my pants. Hey now.
It's a great pickup line. Hey, baby, you want to see my menacing one-eyed giant?
You want to meet Tartaro?
It's a bear cat.
It's a bear dog. No, bear dog.
Bear dog. Yeah, no, bear cat.
We already have bear cats.
Oh, there's your natural feud.
The bear cats versus the bear dogs.
Look at this.
Come on Sunday to Paris Park.
Yes.
The Bearcats visit the Bear Dogs. Free popcorn for the kids. Because you got to lead Tartaro around with something. So he doesn't chew up the kids.
There it is.
3-2 count. It's the Bearcats versus the Bear Dogs. Oh, there goes another child. We'll have to call out the Tartaro Wrangler. Gotta have one somewhere.
Randomly taking children.
Yeah, he just goes up into the crowd and eats your child.
That could be like a fun little game where like he covers them and it's, oh, I'm eating your child.
Yeah.
And the crowd goes, yeah, you meet my child.
Oh, Tartaro up in the crowd trying to give kids hugs. That's not a hug, Tartaro. That's eating a kid. Anyways, and a strike leads to a strikeout. Up next for the Bear Dogs.
This is great.
Yeah, Tartaro the mascot eating kids at the ballpark.
If you own a minor league baseball team, Tim and I got your team name.
That's right, Bear Dogs.
And your mascot. And on Kids Night, it'll be perfect.
Kids Night is just a feed.
But we have to
Bear Dog feed.
We have to promise they get their kids back at the end of the game.
What is he going to do? Regurgitate them?
Or shit them out. There you go. He's just on the field.
Come on, Tartaro. Give them back.
They're pushing the kids down an inflatable slide, but at the top, it's just the back end of the Bear Dog.
Push them out, Tartaro. Push them out. Way out. So you hear Tartaro. Dun, 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 dun.
You get a free towel.
The Tartaro towel.
Yeah, so if your child's eaten by Tartaro, you get a free towel at the end of it when they come down the slide.
You get the Tartaro towel to remember your kid, but that's so sick.
No, you get your kid at the end of the game.
God, you've gone too far. Bear dogs are an extinct group of land-based carnivores in the family Amphissidae. Sure, are not in the bear family, which is the Ursidae, or the dog family, which is the Canidae.
Well,
isn't that what Michael Vick did?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. though they possess physical features similar to animals from both groups. The fossilized lower jawbone represents a new species or perhaps a new genus of bear dog. The researchers named the genus Tartarocyon, which is a nod to Tartaro, a menacing one-eyed giant who, according to Basque mythology, resided in Béarn during the late 8th century BC in the southwestern region of France, where the fossil was discovered. Measuring approximately 8 inches long. That's his mandible. His mandible was 8 inches long.
Okay, not his manhood, his mandible.
You sick freak. Was embedded in a fossil-rich area of marine sediment studded with ancient shells. Sure, it was his mandible that was studded with ancient shells.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. The jawbone's most striking feature is its teeth. Just saying. Bear dogs were heavily bodied and flat-footed walkers like bears, but they had relatively long
snouts.
Yes, and legs, like many dogs do. They lived during the Miocene epoch. Okay, 23 million to 5.3 million years ago, and the animals varied widely in size, weighing from 20 to 705 pounds.
Oh, that's a huge animal.
Yeah, researchers estimate that the Tartarocyon was one of the biggest species, or one of the bigger species, weighing approximately 441 pounds on average.
Jeez.
Days of biggins. So yeah,
that's something you don't want to encounter when you're in the wild.
No, our mascot's going to be pretty darn big.
Yeah, it's going to be a big, but we can give him like a big bubbly belly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you could be cuddly until the time where he gets your child in his belly.
Exactly, and then shits him out at the end of the game.
Oh, God. No. Come claim your kid at the Tartaro slide, please. If you lost your child during the game, come get him at the one-eyed slide.
Get your free one-eyed slide. Do not call it the one-eyed slide.
No, it has to be now. It's got to be the one-eyed slide.
Oh.
Come get your child at the one-eyed slide. Unbelievable. All right, Bruiser, are you ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
First of all, this little mini segment is called "What Are You People Doing Anyways?" We start with part 1 of 2 of "What are you people doing to yourselves anyways?" What are you people doing anyways? You're preserving your dead relatives' tattoos and turning them into art.
Oh, I've heard about this. Because I obviously have tattoos, and someone says, "Oh, when you die, are you going to preserve that?" Like, no.
Who told you that?
Some guy at the gym was admiring my tattoos, and he says, "Yeah, you can hire somebody to cut it off and frame it and hang it on your wall."
Sick freak.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, I just trust me. When he was telling me the details, I'm slowly backing away from him.
You should be. Good God.
You want to wear my skin?
That's a Buffalo Bill thing.
Yes. So some big Ed Gein vibes right there.
Yeah, I would. I'm not going to that guy's house for sausages. No. Tattoo artists have a new hustle, recovering ink from the bodies of the recently deceased at the behest of their loved ones. Oh, God, Bruiser, you should. I'm going to show you this picture. Dude, you're not going to want to eat dinner tonight. Look at that.
Oh.
Yeah.
They just literally cut off, because he was, that's a whole.
That's a back piece.
Shirt. That's a back piece, yeah. And 2 sleeves.
Yeah, and they just cut it right off the dude.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yikes.
That zombie is not going to be happy when he gets up.
No, when he gets out of the grave, he's going to be like, huh? Sure is cold out. After a fatal boating accident in 2019, Jonathan Gill was told he wouldn't be able to see the body of his twin brother before he was cremated unless he could identify him by his tattoos. Morticians told him that the body was too waterlogged and in no condition to be displayed for a wake. When Gill reached out to Thomas Boyland, the director of Thomas F. Boyland Funeral Home in Queens, New York, it was Boyland who told him about a commercial business that gives family members an alternative way to memorialize deceased relatives by harvesting tattooed skin from their dead bodies and preserving it forever. Gill's brother had several tattoos, and Boylan was able to piece back together 2 of them and send them to a lab in Ohio. There they would be preserved by Save My Ink Forever, a post-mortem tattoo service that turns recovered body ink into fine art collectibles. After the work was done, the funeral director delivered the framed tattoos to Gill and his mother in person.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just look at photographs.
Yeah, I think photographs are okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything kind of came rushing back, but in a weird way, it was comforting, Gill told Motherboard.
What? No, it's not.
In a weird way, we had him back. We had a piece of him back that we remembered of him.
Well, no. See, he obviously was cremated because they couldn't show the body because of the bloating and everything. So just take his ashes and put them on your mantle, and you really have him.
The proprietary process developed by Save My Ink Forever permanently alters the chemical structure of the skin in a way that preserves ink and prevents skin from decomposing. No, you actually have their skin, my friend.
Yeah, that's disgusting. You know who else had people's skin? Ed Gein.
He did. He made it into lamps and soap and
and a belt.
Yeah. The company works with private funeral homes in 21 U.S. states and has expanded into Canada and the U.K. to obtain authorization from those families, following next of kin direct chain links in accordance with specific state-specific funeral laws as required. People who want this done, in essence, this is their funeral ceremony. Kyle Sherwood, the tattoo preservationist and COO of Save My Ink Forever, told Motherboard, this means...
Just have a funeral. Just have a funeral.
This means more to them than a church service. Clients describe the area where the tattoo is located and what it looks like. Then a licensed mortician excises the tissue around the tattoo and sends it to Save My Ink Forever's Ohio lab, where Sherwood goes to work, a process that takes about 3 months.
Jeez.
Sherwood will touch up and enhance the work, doing his best to return the tattoo to its original state. Sherwood says it's stories like Gill's that make this work meaningful. The family's gratitude when they receive the piece and they're like, oh my God, I feel like they're here. I saw that tattoo every single day, and now I have a piece of that person with me, Sherwood explained. Look, people take ashes and turn them into diamonds. In the Victorian era, they cut hair and made hair necklaces. This isn't any different.
Yes, it is. This is way different.
Yeah.
Suddenly I hung up my brother's skin suit on my wall, and I see him walking around the house everywhere. Yeah, because your house is haunted now.
I turned my brother into a polar bear rug. I think that's a little different. Yeah. Yes. Just a tiny bit.
What's next? We stuff each other?
That's what she said. Some legal experts, however, say the practice sits in a particularly murky area of the law. I would agree.
Yeah.
Funeral law expert Tanya Marsh is the vice dean of the Wake Forest University School of Law and the author of The Law of Human Remains. The first treatise on the subject is in 50 plus years. Based on Marcia's interpretation of funeral law, she believes Save My Ink Forever is putting funeral directors in the position to have liability under state and criminal statutes for excising tissues from dead bodies. I'm sure it's very meaningful for people to take advantage of their services, and I'm in favor of the law being flexible enough for people to take advantage of things like that, Marsh told Motherboard. However, I don't think the law currently is flexible enough to make this a legal practice. Well, I would agree.
Yeah, don't make it legal.
There are no federal or state laws that expressly permit a funeral director to slice off a piece of a person's skin and mail it to a company to have it preserved. However, more than half of the states have criminal statutes, generally known as abuse of corpse laws, with criminal penalties for treating human remains in a way the court considers disrespectful. According to Marsh, the criminal abuse of corpse laws would have to be enforced by a county prosecutor, but a complaint would most likely come from a family member if they were to complain to the state regulatory authority. Private claim for emotional harm caused by mistreatment of human remains could also be brought by family members if they see the tattoo removal as mutilation of human remains, which Marsh points out is available in all 50 states. And I can see that happening.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
I can see one family member getting, baby brother's back piece, and another family member going, "What the F did you just do?"
Yeah, and then calling the cops.
Yeah. The company's legal counsel, Don Ferfolia, claims that the waiver form families fill out absolves the funeral director and Save My Ink Forever from liability. Ferfolia says there are simply families and funeral directors the company will not work with if they're operating in a state with abuse of corpse laws that could result in criminal charges brought on behalf of funeral directors if something goes awry. The company also stresses the importance of following right of kin laws. We only work with family members who have the right of disposition. Disposition is the word, Ferfolia told Motherboard. If there's a family with rights of disposition that is upset, we will never recover a tattoo for preservation. Let's say there's a whole group of children with rights of disposition. If there's one person in that group, we will consider equal who is disputing that. We will not recover that tattoo. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. So they're covering their butts by, if there's more than one of you, we won't do it because two of you might be okay, but the third one's not okay.
Right. So if there's even one party that is against it, nobody does it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Ferfolia said the company is in compliance with laws and would indemnify a funeral director in their network if the company were to be found liable in a legal situation. Sherwood anticipates that demand for the service he offers will rise as tattoos become more popular. A 2021 Statista survey found that 26% of Americans had at least one tattoo. And as the only commercially operating business of its kind in the world, Save My Ink Forever has control over this niche market. So, Bruiser, here's the question.
My tattoos are staying on my body when I die.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I had to ask.
That's going in my will.
All right. It better, or at least in your last wishes.
Now.
Yeah. So you would definitely tell the kids, you ain't slicing me up.
I know my kids don't want to slice me up. Did they? Well,
now trends can change. You're a young man.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
So, anything can happen between now and the time you expire.
That's just creepy. I don't want to be hanging on someone's wall.
Like you've been taken by Craven the Hunter.
Exactly. This elk I shot over here, this lion I shot here, this bear I shot here. Oh, that's my dad.
That's Papa. That's Papa's back piece right there. It just, it didn't feel right. I don't know.
No, I don't know. It's not for me.
Okay. Let's move on, shall we? Part 2 of What Are You People Doing? Starts off kind of a little like this. People are using AI, Bruiser, to generate disturbing kids' bedtime stories.
They don't want their kids to sleep?
I couldn't, 8-year-old Timmy couldn't hear Once Upon a Time. No. I would probably take that thing and chuck it.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to read you a bedtime story.
Something called DALL-E, DAL-E, can use stories generated by AI to produce something unsettling, or to produce some unsettling illustrations, like a knife-wielding Pikachu leading his comrades into battle.
What?
No.
Okay. My kids are obviously grown and out of the house now, but when they were younger, you looked forward to bedtime. Why would you give them scary stories that would keep them up all night?
I have enough pain when I go to bed. I don't need DALL-E standing over me with a knife-wielding Pikachu.
No.
Advanced AI models like GPT-3 and DALL-E have been all the rage lately. Why, I don't know. Maybe this generation wants to torture their kids?
I guess.
Mm-hmm. Have been all the rage lately, with the latter inspiring a recent surge of interest in creating AI-generated images from text prompts. But it turns out combining those images with advanced text prediction can result in some extremely elaborate and disturbing stories, including an illustrated children's book about a knife-wielding Pikachu leading his comrades into battle under ominous dark skies. I had to do that. I just had to turn up the tension just a little bit.
That's terrifying.
Good God, where's the rest of the story? It doesn't even want to give me the rest of the story, Bruiser. It's just like, God, do you really need the rest of the story? Isn't that
it's
enough?
Like we gave you enough nightmare fuel. This is all you need.
What is wrong with people?
Tim, we want to scare your children. Your children shouldn't sleep. Is that a parent getting back at their child from when they were an infant and they kept them up all night?
I think so. It's like, you know what? You little son of a bitch.
I just keep throwing at my kids that they better get ready to be changing my diapers because they owe me.
I guess. Okay, so here's the rest of the story. That's just one result achieved by Edwin Chen, the most evil man on earth. Yes. An engineer at Surge AI who used a combination of OpenAI's DALL-E and GPT-3 natural language tools to generate a Pokemon-themed story for his kindergartner, who evidently he hates.
No, what it was is he was going on a business trip and his wife had to stay home alone with the kids. Yeah. He was like, "Oh, I'll get her.
I'll get her."
Yeah, she gives me a honey-do list. Well, guess what? I'm gonna give her a scared child for the whole time I'm gone.
She's never gonna sleep around on me again. She'll never be able to leave the house. GPT-3 is known for its hauntingly accurate ability to fill in the blanks when given only a short text prompt. And OpenAI's Da Vinci, I didn't know Da Vinci, builds off the model to make it especially good at understanding intent and context. When given a brief description of a story about Ash and Pikachu going to war against Team Rocket, the model generated a detailed story about the ensuing battle. Each generated line was then used as a prompt for DALL-E, resulting in some fairly unsettling illustrations.
This children's story is rated R.
Rated R for violence and visceration. DALL-E is still in testing phases and only available to a select list of artists and researchers, but OpenAI's text-based generation tools are open to anyone who registers for a free account on their website.
Of course it's free.
After Chen's illustrated Pokemon tale began making the rounds on social media, others were inspired to generate stories of their own.
What? Obviously, they're not parents.
Someone made one up, believe it or not, there's one on Motherboard's own Edward Onguiso about Donald Trump's love of the anime series Attack on Titan.
Well, okay.
I don't even know if I dare read it because I'll probably piss off half the audience, but yeah. For many AI researchers and ethicists, the thought of using machine learning to generate content for kids will be particularly alarming. GPT-3 has been shown to reinforce sexist and racist stereotypes.
Oh, come on. Really?
Yes. I told you, nothing good comes of AI.
No, it's a sexist, racist robot. Yeah. Okay.
And the researchers behind DALL-E have demonstrated that the image generating system will also frequently produce biased results, such as the prompt CEO returning only images of white men in business suits.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's racist.
In response, companies and organizations like OpenAI have developed what they claim are mitigations that prevent abuse of generative AI systems. This can involve various methods like reweighting the training data assets to increase the frequency of images, image types the system normally wouldn't display. No matter how fascinating or cute the results, AI researchers will have to contend with the fact that these systems will always produce skewed and harmful content that simply mirrors pre-existing societal inequality.
So why keep studying it? Like right there just proves to you they need to stop this program altogether. We have enough of that stuff in real life. We don't need robots getting in on it too.
I don't know, but that just begs the question, what are you people doing? we're going to go from that scary, I guess, to even more scary. Good things never happen when you dig up tombs.
No, they don't. We learned that from King Tut.
Yeah, that's true. There was a curse on the end of that deal, wasn't there?
There sure was.
The tomb linked to King Arthur is set to be excavated.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, like the actual King Arthur? The tale's based
it's
on?
said to be linked to him. Archaeologists are preparing to explore what lies inside a 5,000-year-old tomb known as Arthur's Stone, situated in rural Herefordshire. This ancient stone structure consists of 9 upright stones which support a larger capstone believed to weigh in upwards of 25 tons. Underneath is thought to be some sort of burial chamber. However, to date, no evidence of remains has ever been discovered at the site, raising questions about who or what was once interred inside.
So let's just leave it closed, get an x-ray machine or whatever they use now to shoot in there and see what there is. And if you don't see anything, you just leave it. Well, there's a reason they put a 25-ton capstone on it.
That's true, yes. Now, though, archaeologists from the University of Manchester are getting ready to excavate the site in an effort to determine once and for all exactly what lies beneath the stone. Arthur's Stone, is one of the country's most significant Stone Age monuments, said Ginny Slade of English Heritage. This gives a rare and exciting chance for the public to see archaeology in action. The stone is said to bear the marks of King Arthur's fight with a dragon and also served as the inspiration behind the stone tablet and the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Arthur himself remains steeped in mystery, with most historians agreeing that he was most likely a mythological figure. Even so, the stories of his exploits have inspired countless tales of kings, dragons, and wizards, including numerous modern-day TV, book, and movie adaptations. So there you go. We're going to dig up a tomb, evidently.
And a dragon's going to come out and eat everybody.
Yeah, so there you go. Nothing bad can happen there, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, King Tut taught us that.
Exactly. So from there, we're going from creepy tombs from, King Arthur's age to creepy turning angel statues.
Oh.
Yeah. Turns out that there's a dark history behind Mississippi's famous turning angel statue. It's in Natchez, Mississippi.
I've heard of this. Yeah. I wanted to visit this. They couldn't figure out why it was doing it, right?
I think so. 1908 explosion in Natchez, Mississippi rocked the city to its core. The casualties of the explosion were buried at the famous Natchez Cemetery, and today there stands a statue to protect those whose lives were lost. The turning angel statue may watch you as you pass. You would have to see it to believe it, as it's both creepy and fascinating. At the corner of Main and South Union Street stood the Natchez Drug Company. The building, which was originally called the Temple Opera House, was purchased in 1904 by John H. Chambliss, the president of the Natchez Drug Company. On March 14, 1908, the 5-story brick building experienced a gas explosion that caused the entire structure to collapse. That morning, employees of the Natchez Drug Company complained of the smell of gas in the building. A plumber was called for, Sam Burns, and when he arrived in the afternoon, he began to look for a gas leak. Using the light from a candle, he searched the basement. Unfortunately, he was successful at finding the leak. Unfortunately.
Well, yeah, because it exploded.
Well, yeah, because it exploded. Duh. The explosion was caused by the gas meeting his lit candle, which ripped through the entire building. Some employees of the Natchez Drug Company were still working while the plumber was searching for a gas leak. As a result, many employees perished in the explosion. Among them were 5 young women, the youngest being only 12 years old. The explosion absolutely devastated the city, but it also had a significant effect on President Chambliss as well. He was upset at the loss of his company, which went out of business following the explosion, but he was utterly heartbroken at the loss of life the explosion had caused. In an effort to share his condolences with those who lost loved ones in the explosion, Chambliss bought a lot at the Natchez Cemetery and paid for the cost of the girls' burial. Their tombstones simply read their last names, so to commemorate those young women further, he commissioned the creation of a stone angel. The angel was placed in a location that made it seem as though it is watching over those 5 tombstones. The stone angel has become an attraction in the historic Natchez Cemetery. City lore says that the stone angel actually turns to look at cars passing by on Cemetery Road. As if driving by the cemetery at night wasn't spooky enough, some believe that the angel watches you as you pass by. Said to be the most visible at night as cars drive by around the bend in the road, some say that the angel's face follows the glare of their headlights. This has given the statue the nickname the Turning Angel. On June 23rd of 2020, the Turning Angel was found damaged, lying on its back on the ground. Workers of the cemetery found the monument there and contacted police. Through surveillance cameras, it was determined that someone had vandalized the statue by rocking it back and forth until it fell off its pedestal at 1 a.m. that morning. The damages to the Turning Angel are estimated to be around, believe it or not, Bruiser, $40,000.
Oh, gee. Well, yeah, because it was created back in the day when they used actual, like, real stone and it was hand-carved and all that.
Yep. A fund has been set up to help raise donations to restore the monument to its original beauty and rightful place, watching over the 5 young ladies whose lives were tragically lost in the Natchez Drug Company explosion. So there you go.
Yeah, I've heard about this, and I really want to go visit it just to see it. Just because I think it'd be cool.
Most definitely, most definitely. All right, we keep going down that creepy canyon, if you will. Bruiser.
Into the darkness we go.
Into the darkness we go as we start to wrap up our program for today. This one is bizarre. Okay, so there are certain things that will keep your family from visiting you. Maybe you don't shower for a week. That'll happen.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe the house isn't in order. Maybe you've got clutter everywhere. Or maybe, Bruiser, you've got a haunted 119-year-old doll that blinks and makes them sick. That'll do it. That'll keep the family away. Mickey York from Northampton bought 119-year-old Janet from a woman who passed away in Texas, with their family paying to send the doll to the UK as they were scared of her. The owner of a 119-year-old doll claims his family and friends won't visit as she gives them chest pains and blinks at guests. Mickey York from Northampton has to lock Janet the doll away in his shed due to her giving his friends and family chest pains.
Can't even be in the house, huh?
Nope.
I love a good haunted doll.
I think
these are great.
Yeah.
What's that?
I think most of us do.
Yeah. I think it's great.
The doll, which was owned by a woman in Texas until she passed away in 2016, was so intimidating to her family, they were prepared to do anything to get rid of her, which meant even paying for her to be removed. In 2016, the 42-year-old decided to take ownership of Janet, and Mickey, who was initially very excited because the family in Texas paid for her to be sent over to the UK, saw it as a sign of eagerness to get rid of the doll. And now Mickey, who sometimes has to pick between the doll or his family, as he admitted to the Metro, she is definitely not welcome by my family. Since having her a lot has happened, there has been a moment when Janet has been captured blinking on camera, or even though she doesn't actually have any eyes.
What? Really?
Yeah, she doesn't have any eyes, but she blinks.
That's creepy.
I have also had friends around Janet who have had to walk away because they've started feeling chest pains and feeling sick.
I wonder if anything happens to him.
It doesn't say. Oh, wait. There's more in here. I'm sorry.
Okay.
When I'm working with Janet, I even feel sick.
Okay, there it is. Yep. Yeah. So she doesn't care who you are.
Nope. She's not well liked and people hate her. Huh.
Well, yeah, if they're making you sick, I'd hate somebody that makes me sick.
Yeah. He admitted, I knew there must be something serious about her because the family didn't want any money for her and even paid to get her sent over to the UK. They really wanted to get rid of her. She had no name when I first got her. Then I discovered what her name was. It was Janet through a spirit box session.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God.
So he communicated with her.
Yeah, you don't want to see the picture I'm looking at.
Oh, yeah, I do.
I asked for her name, and the spirit that is attached to the doll told me that her name was Janet. The doll, according to Mickey, inexplicably throws herself off office display each time he walks in, as he finds her there lying on the floor helpless, like she's dodging him and not trying to be found. Here's the picture that I'm going to show you.
Oh, that is a creepy doll.
It's the picture of...
I like how he has a Ouija board right next to it. Like
that's yeah. So Mickey is sitting there watching TV. He's got Janet. They're all on the couch. Mickey's on the left. Janet the doll is sitting right next to him, and right next to Janet is a Ouija board.
And then he's got, it looks like an EMF detector, a recorder. Yeah.
So he's just trying to open up the third realm of hell to get Janet to talk to him.
Yeah.
He said, I decided to bring Janet out just to see what would happen. And since she's been on display in my office, I regularly walk in to find her on the floor, and there's no way that she could have fallen off. No, she's jumping, you idiot, to get away from you.
Yeah, stop putting her in your office.
I am trying to communicate with Janet through a spirit box to find out why she's constantly jumping off the shelf. I've had Janet since 2016, and usually she's kept locked away because she brings such bad feelings to people when they're around her. Janet has once sworn at Mickey. She even has teeth, but that doesn't put off him spending time with the doll. He admitted, I got into paranormal investigating after seeing about it on television shows. I wanted to see if it was real, so I went down to my local cemetery to try it out, and I never looked back. I can't wait to see what other experiences I have with Janet in the future.
Probably not good ones, dude.
Nope.
There's a reason Ed and Lorraine locked Annabelle away.
Yep, I can't see that ending peacefully.
And Zach's got what is it? Is it Patrick? No. Who's he got?
Is it Robert the doll?
Robert. No, Robert's the Navy one, right? That you have to ask permission to take a picture with.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to remember.
Who's the one that you have to walk in and Penny? Polly?
It might be Penny. I think it might be Penny, because both Meanie and I were went in on that one. I went in and had a good talk with her, and then I guess she swore up a storm at me when I left.
Yeah, I had a good talk with her, and then I was standing next to Vincent, Ring of Honor wrestler, and she said his name and told him to get out.
How did he react to that?
He looked at me and was like, whoa. I'm like, yeah, maybe it's time we leave.
She wouldn't talk to me.
Because you know how you say hello when you walk in? Yeah. You're supposed to say hello?
Yep.
He didn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to see what happens when I don't. And then she said his name and yelled at him and told him to get out.
Oh, look at that.
Yep.
She wouldn't talk to me.
No?
Not at all. Mm-mm. Nope. Next story. Are you ready for this?
Yep.
There's some mystery surrounding an aristocrat's vampire hunting kit.
Oh, okay. Those were popular back in the day.
They were. The kit comes richly adorned with crosses, crucifixes, including those making up a secret opening mechanism.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. A different sort of hammer has fallen on a century-old vampire fighting kit, complete with holy water bottle and wooden stake, after it was auctioned. The bizarre box of paranormal paraphernalia includes candlesticks, crucifixes, and pistols, and was once owned by British peer Lord Hailey. It sold for £13,000 at a Derbyshire auction, 5 times its guide price.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Somebody really wanted that.
Yeah, they did. It's unclear how seriously Lord Hailey took the threat of vampires or if the kit was ever used. The 19th century lockable box features 2 brass crucifixes on the lid, which act as secret sliding locks. Inside there are more crucifixes, a matching pair of pistols, a brass powder flask, holy water, a Gothic Bible, a wooden mallet, a stake, brass candlesticks, and rosary beads. Interesting.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Several items were stamped with Lord Hailey's initials. Also included was Metropolitan Police paperwork, apparently registering an alien enemy in 1915 during World War I. William Malcolm Hailey was first Baron Hailey was born in 1872 and rose to be governor of the Punjab in 1924 to 1928 and governor of the United Provinces from 1928 to 1934. He died in 1969 and has a memorial tablet in Westminster Abbey. Charles Hanson, owner of Hanson's Auctioneers, said vampires have been part of popular culture for more than 200 years. They are enshrined in European folklore. The publication of John Polidori's The Vampire in 1819 had a major impact that was followed by Bram Stoker's 1897 classic Dracula, which, by the way, is 125 years old this summer.
Really?
Yep.
It's a great book for people that want to read the book. I mean, the movies are good, but the book is amazing.
I think it's Dacre Stoker is his godson, great godson. I want to try and get him on the show. I just recently connected with him on LinkedIn and Facebook. So we have a mutual friend, so I'm going to try and get him on the show here. So.
That'd be cool.
However, a belief in vampires and strange superstitions go back even further and persist to this day. The task of killing a vampire was extremely serious, and historical accounts suggest the need for particular methods and tools. Also in the sale was a lantern clock dating from between 1690 and 1700. These are thought to be the earliest type of domestic clocks in England, and the example was unusual due to its original condition. It sold for £7,000. So there you go. Interesting
That's
stuff.
really cool. That'd just be cool to have, you know? Mm-hmm. That'd be a good conversation piece.
Most definitely. Most definitely indeed. So Stephen King. Oh, wait, no, we're going to do I think we'll talk just briefly. There's 8 cursed books out there, but I don't know if we want to get into that today, do we?
I don't know.
Do you want to talk about 8 cursed books?
We can say that for next week, too.
We can say that for next week. We'll talk about 8 cursed books next week. Stephen King has been, let's say, inspired by different novels in his lifetime. Yeah. He has his favorite novels of the lifetime, but you'd be surprised that the undisputed master of the horror genre is inspired by things that aren't necessarily scary. Only one book in this 10 actually would scare you.
Really?
Yeah.
I hope it's not a bunch of romance novels.
Well, I guess more than one. Okay, we'll say maybe 3 or 4 might actually hinge on something somewhat scary.
Okay.
We'll start out with The Lord of the Flies. William
Great
Golding.
book. Yep. Fantastic book.
Yep. Ship of Fools by Catherine Ann Porter is on that. Watership Down by Richard Adams.
Great book.
The Orphan Master's Son by Adam Johnson. The Hair of Harold Rue by Thomas Williams. Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison is on there. So see that?
That could be technically horror, yeah.
Yeah. 1984 by George Orwell.
Yeah, it's a very good book.
American Pastoral by Philip Roth. And The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm surprised when Lord of the Rings is not The Hobbit, which is the original.
Yeah. One of the major activities that King always advocates is reading. He once said, "You learn best by reading a lot and writing a lot. And the most valuable lessons of all are the ones you teach yourself. It's not enough to have imagination. You have to be able to tap into it," he said. "I taught school, and you could see the kids losing their imagination right in front of your eyes. I don't know whether it's peer pressure or some sort of governor they have, but imagination shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. I've never met anyone without a sense of humor, but I've sure met some people without any imagination at all. My books are successful because I've never assumed the job is half done for me because the reader had a great imagination. I try to be logical when I'm telling a story."
That makes sense.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. And those books you listed, a couple of them, like really get your imagination going.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's see here. Oh, okay. So we're getting to the end of the program here. You know, actually, this is the last story of the day.
Okay.
And, you know, we just recently had 4th of July. We had a lot of cookouts. I want to warn people as you're cooking out this weekend, and maybe you've got cookouts planned for next weekend. You know, it's kind of the outdoor season, and you're barbecuing. Be careful as you're barbecuing out there, folks. We're a little concerned for you here at Darkness Radio.
Why are we concerned?
Because there's certain things too that you throw on the grill that you think are safe.
Okay, yeah.
And they may not necessarily be safe.
Okay.
I'm talking about chicken.
The chicken, okay.
Chicken's a bird, right?
Yeah, it's delicious.
It is delicious. And a lot of people say a lot of things taste like chicken.
Yes, they do. Frog legs, alligator, all that, yeah.
Yeah. But it turns out, Bruiser, that it turns out that wild birds are almost responsible for, well, not almost responsible, they are responsible for lightning strikes all over the world.
What?
I know, it's a wild story. I'm trying to get to it here. Wild birds are responsible for hundreds of lightning strikes every year, my friend.
Like, because they're flying and lightning hits them, or? I'm so confused.
It's true, Bruiser. A surprisingly high number of wildfires are caused by electrocuted birds.
So the birds is flying along, and
yep,
it's hit by lightning.
Researchers determined 44 wildland fires were ignited by avian electrocutions in the contiguous United States from January 2014 through December 2018. So maybe I heighten the number. It's not hundreds, it's 44. In 2015, a wildfire burned through 10,000 acres in Idaho, forcing 165 firefighters to combat the blaze. What was the cause? Well, it was a bird nesting at the top of a power line structure.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I've seen a video where a bird lands on a power line, it touches it too, and just poof, it's gone.
Reports of bird electrocutions leading to wildfires have shown up anecdotally from time to time in the past. Now researchers are studying how often this happens. That's where your money is going. But when electrocutions happen, it's not unusual for the water in the animal cells to be instantly turned to steam. Yeah. Oh, what a way to go.
Yeah, you're coming from the inside out.
James Dwyer, a wildlife biologist at EDM International, a consulting company for electrical utilities and co-author of a new paper, tells Wilk, it explodes the cells. It'll blow off a limb. Ooh.
Yeah, if you watch the video, you can watch videos of birds being electrocuted, and they just explode.
In a paper published in Wildlife Society Bulletin, researchers collected data for birds causing fires from being electrocuted throughout the contiguous United States.
States? Is that the remix?
Yeah, it is. I'm Max Headroom all of a sudden. From January 2014 through December 2018, there's no central database for this sort of thing, so they got creative. They set up Google alerts for 3 key search words. Oh, God. Bird and fire, eagle and fire, and hawk and fire.
Hawk and fire, that's a cool name.
It is. And filtered out unrelated results. Next, they manually sorted through the results and discarded wildfires that were not confirmed to have been started by a bird, looking for photographic evidence of a burned carcass at the ignition site or a statement made by an expert. Lastly, they mapped the fires out against ecoregions to see whether any one area was more susceptible to bird-caused fires than others. The team found a total of 44 wildland fires that were caused by bird electrocutions in the U.S. within those 5 years. The ecological and economic losses are substantial, said Antoni Margalida, who is a conservation biologist from the Pyrenean Institute of Ecology, who studied wildfires caused by birds in Spain, but was not involved in the new study. Power lines are an attractive resting area, and birds often nest on utility poles and towers. Usually a wire is a safe place for the animal to relax because the electrical current traveling through it's too small to shock a bird.
Until they touch a transformer or something like that.
If they touch 2 wires of different voltages at the same time.
There it is. Okay. Yep.
Or touch a wire and a grounded portion like a pole. This gives the current the path to the ground and the bird gets fried.
Yikes. And poof, fried chicken.
This is especially dangerous for fast-flying large birds such as raptors, eagles, vultures, and storks. A lot of the times, the jumper wires running from the main conductors down to those transformers are uninsulated, so they're energized, and birds can make contact with those tightly spaced wires or other pieces of energized equipment, lead author Taylor Barnes said of EDM. Most of the fires the team documented were small, but they discovered that the dry Mediterranean climates of large portions of like California, an area already prone to drought, had the highest density of bird-caused fires. So it does say that compared to all wildfires, those ignited by electrocuted birds are relatively few. There were about 60,000 wildfires across the U.S. in 2021. So to have 44 in 6 years is relatively little. But still, you never know. You may not have to grill your chicken this weekend. It may fall from the sky.
Just hold your plate out.
I guess. Good Lord.
It'll be a little dry because all the water is evaporated, but hey.
It's well done. You'll know it's sterile.
and you prevent the forest fire.
That's right. So there you go. That's supernatural news for this Wednesday. Want to mention a big thank you to our 2 sponsors this week, Microdose Gummies. So just go to microdose.com, use your keyword darkness, free shipping, 30% off your first order. Thank you to Microdose Gummies and Lumi Labs. Want to say thank you to BetterHelp as well for being a sponsor. BetterHelp, by the way, an excellent company. If you're having issues, any issues whatsoever you need help with, that a therapist can help you out with, it doesn't matter how big or how small. It helps sometimes just to get a different set of eyes on things. By all means, go to betterhelp.com and use the code DarknessRadio there, and you'll get your discount there as well. So take advantage of either sponsor. They're here to help you with your pain, both mental, physical, and they're giving you a discount, and they're supporting Darkness Radio, which we love. So support our sponsors that support us. We ask you to do that for us. Tomorrow on the show, Bruiser.
Who we got? Who's coming in?
Oh, we got a good one.
All right. Who is it?
We're going to talk Fright Club with the Ghost Brothers.
Oh, that's right. You were telling me about that.
Yeah.
I love that show.
Yeah. So we've got the Ghost Brothers in tomorrow. We're going to talk Fright Club, and we're going to talk, it's going to be just the Ghost Brothers, not Jack Osborne. But we're going to talk Ghost Brothers. We're going to talk Fright Club. We may even talk a little bit about their show and talk about some things they may have cooking up in the pipeline. So that's all coming up tomorrow right here on Darkness Radio. Bruiser, what do you have going on real quick in the next couple of weeks?
I'm going to be performing in North Carolina this month. I'm very excited for one new company and then AML. And I am starting, actually, since this is debuting, this is dropping on Wednesday, I am going to be a trainer at the AML Training Center. So I will be teaching the future underwater needle pointers. I'm very excited to do this adventure. Check out my Facebook page or my Twitter. It's got all the information. It's open to anybody that wants to learn how to be a professional wrestler. They have a wonderful training facility. I think they have like 2 rings, and they have weights. They have everything. And I'm ready to teach the future and pass on the knowledge that was given to me by many, many great legends of the sport.
There you go. So again, we'll have a link in the description of this program, not only on how you can get a hold of our sponsors and try out their great products, but also if you want to train with Bruiser or book him for an event, you'll get the link there in the description of this program as well. For Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. Join us again tomorrow. Ghost Brothers right here on the best in paranormal podcasting. This has been Darkness Radio.